Andre, welcome, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, sir. Um, should I introduce myself now, like fully with the?
That was the next thing after I said, hey, welcome to the DApp Dialogues podcast, where
Okay,
we try to deconstruct what it takes to build a great Web3 product. Now, there you go. Feel free to introduce
perfect.
yourself.
Okay, so I'm Andre. I'm working for Safe Wallet as a product manager. So I'm pretty much leading the product effort for the wallet web team, for the front end team that creates the user-facing client-facing interface. Um, what else? Previously, I worked in One Inch Network, so I'm in the Web3 space for some time already, like for more than 2 years. Before that, I worked in finance, like in the more like centralized finance in derivatives, in forex. So I know the centralized part, the bad part of the of the industry. And even before that, I worked in some early stage crypto startups where it was a romantic time of ICOs, first wrong concepts of crypto. So I've been within. So basically, my start was in 2017, but I didn't survive the first winter. So I just left the company and I switched to traditional finance. I worked for 2 years in forex, and then I got back to Web3. Had some friends, yeah. So I've been with One Inch for some time, and so in this summer I joined Safe, which is kind of I think the best team I've worked in so far. So very nicely organized and like a super team of professionals. Enjoying this for 5 months already, and
All right.
that's it.
I didn't know you had worked at One Inch. That's cool. We'll touch on that in
Sure.
in a bit because I think that that's a very interesting trajectory, especially when it comes to what we're here to talk about, which is
Yeah.
product design. Um, but like, first of all, obviously you're more involved with the Safe Wallet side of operations. Obviously, Safe is a big company and they have a lot of arms going on, including the account abstraction one,
Mhm.
which we're really into here at Particle Network. But yeah, I mean, in your words, what do you think makes Safe a great product? What do you think that you guys have done differently that you can offer to the ecosystem?
Well, I think that the Safe founders were just lucky and professional enough to tackle the existing problem of the crypto space, introducing the multi-signature wallet. So that was basically replicating the existing scenario, like which works for traditional banking. So every commercial bank that works with B2B clients has these accounts where you cannot execute a transaction without the board of directors signing the thing. So an existing real world challenge, which was addressed properly with the proper level of security, proper level of professionalism, and so they managed to bring this to the blockchain, write all the necessary smart contracts to make this multi-signature wallets, and made it presented to the community in the way that it was adopted by the leaders, by Vitalik himself and by the other guys. Like pretty much almost every company that's in crypto more or less is using Safe for their foundation funds, corporate funds, like whatever is in crypto is usually operated by multi-signature Safe wallet, which is typical to any other business on the Web 2. So I think this is the key to success. Like take the because a lot of crypto companies back then, now, in the future will be tackling the challenges which do not really exist, which or they exist but they are super niche, and this one is also sort of niche, but this niche is like a proper one with a lot of money. So that's the success secret as I see it.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that we now take for granted, but like someone had to come up with it, someone had to invent it, and and in particular, I mean, without multi-sigs, there's a case to say like, okay, there's no DAOs because it would be really difficult to have DAOs if you don't have that. A lot of projects couldn't have like vesting schedules. So definitely pretty important. When it comes to that exactly to multi-sigs, what do you think are like the use cases that drove it the most?
Well, like I said, all sorts of corporate operations, not just okay. DAOs is probably the primary thing. It's all the foundations, like whoever has the collaborative fund management. That's the thing. Also, you can do the payroll. You can do whatever. So, like I said, like any corporate activities can use multisig. That's the primary use case. So now we are expanding. And now we are trying to make this introduce multi-sig scenarios into kind of retail life, where another signer is not necessarily another physical person. So another signer can be also the same person but with a different wallet, and this additional wallet can be either a traditional externally owned account, like okay, you can have like a MetaMask, and you can have for instance, like Ledger, and you can use them combined. That's the multisig. That's a multisig. That's a smart wallet account, but it's a double layer of protection. So it's usually like we even have this user researches where people tell us, okay, safe seems really cool, but you know what, like hardware wallets are even cooler because they're even more secure. But in fact, you can use the hardware wallet as another signer of your safe, hence like making this even more protected, so even more secure. So basically, to wrap this up, all sorts of corporate, like all sorts of collaborative fund management, because not necessarily cooperation, could be something else, and just security, like wallets with a significant amount of money that need a few more layers of protection except for just securing seed phrase. So
that's really smart and really important. I think you do get like if you're handling I don't know, let's say big figures, whatever big figures are for yourself, right? Like that might be $200, it might be 2,000, it might be 20,000, but like it's eerie to put them all in a single place. And then you have like the whole not your keys, not your Bitcoin that tells you to not keep them on exchanges. So, okay, then you have to have like a self taken care of bank account or like have multiple of them. And then you have to store like a bunch of seed phrases. It's definitely a problem, a big problem. And that's a good way to solve it, I think, to just add extra layers of security and make the process a bit harder on yourself on purpose also.
Yep. Also smart. Okay, we might touch this topic later in the future questions, but the thing is that smart account, except for extra layers of security, it can offer like a few other nice things. And so
let's just go into it.
Sure.
What do you think it's
sure? So first, okay, let's put it like this. So it's quite rare that the seed phrase is exposed. Okay, it happens, but it's kind of really rare, like that the person copies and pastes the seed phrase to where, to their Twitter account, like publicly. It's not a real threat actually. The real common problem is people forgetting the seed phrase, writing it down securely on a piece of paper, and then the piece of paper is eaten by the dog, or just someone just threw it away because there was some scribbles on it, and that's that is the real case. Or it was put into some machine like computer like burnt down or whatever. So this is the thing. So now what smart account can do for you is you can recover your funds. Of course, if you set up the recovery in the first place, it's not like it unfortunately doesn't work like it's not by default. So you have to set up recovery, and you can then, even if you forget, somehow lose the access to the owner wallet, to the signer wallet, or to the more than one signer wallets, like what depends on your setup. But anyway, if you have the recovery in place, that's the way that you can recover your funds and get to them, even if you lose access to the accounts that created this safe and that were used as signer wallets. So yeah, any questions at this point? Because I can try to briefly explain like how the recovery works, super briefly.
Oh yeah, please go ahead. I think
Okay.
that's really important for people
Sure.
that are new to this.
Sure. So basically, recovery can be of two types, like major two types. First is centralized recovery and decentralized recovery. So centralized recovery is sort of Web 2 experience in Web 3. So basically, what you do is you are assigning a recoverer some trusted third party. For instance, like a bank. We at Safe have partnerships. It's not yet live, but we are in progress of developing this solution. We announced it already. We have two banks. And if you trust the Swiss bank, you might not trust a Swiss bank. But if you do trust a Swiss bank, you can go through the KYC. In case you are not a person that doesn't want to pass the KYC, but let's assume that you do. You pass the KYC, you give them the right to recover your account, and to recover, you have to go through the KYC once again. You can just reach out to them and say, "Hey guys, you know what? This is a safe address. You are the recovery party for this address. Can you please recover it for me?" And to do that, you have to prove to them that you are exactly the person that set up the thing in the first place. So you have to pass the KYC again, so submit an ID or something. So this is one way of recovery, a centralized one. It requires it's not free of charge. So you have to pay these guys, and these guys do the recovery for you, and they requires your documents for that. This is more like for casual users. Like if you are like advanced enough in crypto, if you think that the banks are not really your best friends and you don't want to go through KYC procedures, that's also fine. We have the decentralized one, which means that pretty much any account can become a recoverer. So let's imagine that you secured the seed phrases of your signer wallets, but you also have another wallet that is a recoverer. You also have to secure the seed phrase of this wallet, of course. But you can do it in a different way. I don't know, like invent a way to secure a seed phrase in a different way. So one is written on a paper, another one is, I don't know, engraved on a piece of metal and put somewhere. I don't know, like it depends. Like put in a Google Drive or something like this. Also, this recoverer account can also be a safe. So multiple people, let's say your like a friend, your wife, your kids, your mother, like whoever, or friends or colleagues, can be this committee of recoverers, physical people owning one safe, and you can come to them and say, "Hey guys, remember I have set up a safe for you. Please log into the safe and recover my safe for me." So pretty much any fantasy can be done there. There can also be a variety of recoverers. You can use a hybrid mode. You can have a centralized plus decentralized, a number of it. So if there's really like a lot of money and the person is security concerned, they can create all sorts of protection and be like absolutely sure that whatever happens, if the internet goes down, no way to recover, like completely, if there's a apocalypse scenario. But other than that, Swiss bank, UK bank, US bank, potentially we don't have it, but potentially we can have a US entity as well. Just a plain externally owned account, whatever it is. So our recovery system is pretty flexible, and this is a super nice, to my mind, like a super nice selling point of account abstraction in general, because potential like any abstracted account can introduce something like this. So it's
and I think I think social recovery in particular is very underestimated and underdeveloped. So it's always good to see people like building more on that. I think as more people do adopt crypto, it's gonna become more obvious that this is the way to go for a lot of people. And yeah, I totally. I'm curious about how you guys approach the creation of new features and how you approach you're prioritizing, but also just deciding what goes into the product and what you consider good. Would you enlighten us on how that process looks
Sure.
like for you guys?
Well, actually, to be very honest, like a crypto product management is not that different from any other product management. Like in Web2 industries, it's pretty much the same scenarios where same tools, same instruments kind of work. So you have strategic planning, you have strategic goals, like strategic. So it's all based on assumptions. Like first of all, we are working on assumptions. We cannot be absolutely sure that what we do makes sense. So it's also some degree of risk. So you make strategic assumption that we need to become a tool with a nice seamless onboarding with these opportunities, and we want in the end we want this and that. So then we start decomposing. Okay, what we need for this? We need seedless onboarding, we need recovery feature, we need on-ramping solution, we need this, and like we decompose it into kind of smaller chunks, and then we can start researching the users, researching the competition. It's all by the way, it's not sequential, it's all done in parallel. So you research users, you discuss inside the team what can be the goals. The goals change because the environment changes all the time. So let's say in 2023 there was a huge change of environment for account abstraction in general with the introduction of 4337 standard, and with all the media activity around it, all of a sudden like everyone started believing in account abstraction while the whole thing was there years before. Nobody stopped. The thing is that the only technological shift, two technological shifts have happened quite recently. Seedless onboarding, it's something that you guys doing, and the paymasters, and all the alternative to paymasters like Gelato stuff. All the ways to pay gas with some tokens you own instead of native coins, and sponsored gas transactions and stuff like that. So these things emerged like in 2022, maybe 2020, late 2021, 2022. They kind of became robust enough, and 2023 the environment changed in a way that for Safe it became essential to build the retail solution. So that's the first thing. A lot of assumptions and being flexible to the changing environment, adopt all the changes that happen, which also quite fair to say about all the other industries. Like it happens everywhere in traditional finance, probably less risky than crypto because not that many drastic changes happen there, but still regulation stuff changes all the time there as well. And user research, like I mentioned, competition research. So we always keep in touch like with what the other guys do, all the account abstraction folks, just other prominent DeFi players and Web3 players, like what's happening there. So just get inspiration from there. Reuse some solutions that proven to be effective, because the only significant difference of the Web3 industry from all the others one in terms of like product management is that there's most of the things we do are super transparent. So I mean, thanks to tools like June and all the things like that, it's just we can get back in the days of Web 2 we had like similar web. We could very roughly estimate, okay, this site is being visited, these guys are coming from North America, these are from Europe, blah blah blah. But we didn't get a detailed data of what the other guys are doing. Here with blockchain, we can get everything. We can get all the, so it's a completely transparent market. We see like how anyone can estimate how successful this feature or that feature is, who is using it, who is not using it, like what currencies are involved, what chains are involved. Everything is super transparent. So the role of analytics, like blockchain analytics, is tremendous. So they got a lot of. We use extensively. We use the power of blockchain analysis. We got a lot, like a few dedicated guys who kind of do this thing. Also, we combine this on-chain data with whatever we manage to collect off-chain, and try to build. Okay, for the competition, we don't have off-chain data, but we have it from our side. So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have total insight into what's happening within your competitors' apps, and
Yeah.
that's very hard to fake or to deny.
Exactly. Yeah, it's this is the industry, and I think this is the beauty of the industry. You cannot fool the other people. I mean, well, you can, but it's harder to fool. And if like, okay, maybe some general public that doesn't read Twitter and just doesn't read the news and anything, maybe there is a way, but not for a long time, because if the scam is like
Exactly, not for a
significant,
long time.
everyone starts speaking of that, like saying, "Hey, like what you doing? That these guys are look at this, like, and like look what's going on." So it's a very very nice. I like it. I just adore this. My probably my most favorite part of the blockchain is transparency, anonymity and transparency. You don't see the personal data, which is fine, but you see the what's going on. So that's just adorable.
How do you feel about then about everything privacy? Because obviously there's, I mean, if you really want to dig into, you can probably, like cross-check people's transactions into a sex account, and usually those are linked to an identity, and it's somewhat easy to track people's identity, and that's like one of the big problems of the industry, right? That lack of privacy, but at the same time that would kill that kind of the kind of thing you're talking about, which is indeed pretty excited. Do you think there could be like a balance there where we still get like some?
I think there should be. Well, first of all, we all need to. That's my humble opinion that. There's no big scale if you're talking about anonymous money. It's just not possible. It won't happen. Like if we want like a million, like a $100 million industry, it can be anonymous. If it's $1 billion industry, probably also. But if it's $100 billion industry, or like $1 trillion industry, it's just impossible to keep it anonymous. So the KYC thing will come. And it's coming already. And basically the centralized exchanges were KYC'd from day one. And that's something that is unfortunately unavoidable, because the governments still are not really big fans of crypto generally. And even though like, so total privacy will not be achieved, like, to my mind. But the power of the thing, like how I see the bright future, the good scenario for me is when your ideal scenario of onboarding to crypto, or to crypto wallet, to an ideal crypto wallet, so you don't have to KYC before you go up to certain amount, or up to certain currencies. Like if you select, like, let's say, currencies that are recognized to be CBDCs, or government approved, sort of like euro, regulated euro in this case, or regulated US dollar, like properly regulated, to go this, to have a seamless access to all the SWIFT transfers, like SEPA transfers in Europe, you will have to go through KYC. If you want to stay crypto outside of the thing, you won't have to. So I mean, it's would be stupid to ask people to confirm their identity with their first blockchain transaction. This is also something that won't happen.
Exactly.
And I really hope that it's not going to happen. It shouldn't, I think. So there should be some sort of modularity there. So your basic level, I think, should remain anonymous. But as soon as you start, playing with big numbers and operating specific currencies that are recognizable by the governments and that can be used in like business transactions, like clients to business, businesses to businesses, like cross-border, all kinds of this stuff. So it's inevitable to have the proper KYC. And I think what can be the big one of the next big things, and how I see this, is the ZK based identity tokens that can be used. So my ideal KYC, like the KYC of my dreams, is that I once pass the KYC somewhere on one of the ZK providers. There are a lot of them. And I have this token, and there's a standard, some sort of all these tokens are standardized, so there's sort of ERC something, like a standard of a ZK proven identity, which is supposed to be approved by everyone. So I really hope that standardization is going to come to this industry, and there's going to be it's going to be very smooth. You get the token once, right? And that's it. You can use it in any DeFi, banking, whatever wallet application. You just hand over, say, okay, I'm a real person. Fine. There you can go. That's
definitely ideal. If you build like zero knowledge tech is very user friendly in that regard. That obviously, if you have the ability to prove something without actually showing it, then that opens up a lot of dynamics that are before inaccessible for identity in this case, for approvals, even for recovery on wallets. You mentioned a couple of very interesting things before, and looking at competitors, your retail products, and in general, I think one of the features that I really enjoyed when looking at your wallet was the internal applications market that you have in there. I think that's really cool, and that's something that made a lot of noise like a couple weeks, like maybe like a month and a half ago, when it came to MetaMask announcing their snaps. So I liked seeing this in there, and I think this could be an interesting direction for wallet providers to explore. But yeah, for people that might not be familiar with that side of Safe, would you mind explaining it and what's sort of like the rationale behind it?
Well, I cannot say that this is something that Safe has invented, because like in externally owned account applications, like 1inch wallet, for example, like talking about my previous experiences, like they have the DEP browser. It is not only 1inch. So pretty much all the major crypto wallets that have nothing to do with account abstraction, they have the DEP browsers. And that's the DEP browser effectively is where you can choose an application, and you are immediately connected to this application. You can do whatever you want inside your wallet app. So it opens a web page inside your wallet app, and you do stuff there, whatever you like to do, and your wallet is immediately injected into this DEP. So this Safe Apps is something like a DEP browser inside the Safe application, because like it's not a mobile application, so like a web application. So hence, but the idea is pretty much the same. You also have the iframes. You open the web interface of another application inside yours, so it's a 2 layers like nested sort of architecture. Your wallet is immediately connected. Also, this integration offers you some fancy things. For instance, like if you can create a custom integration with a Safe app, you can do something that is called bundling, which is quite cool, because let's say you can have anyway. By the way, bundling is in general a very cool feature of abstracted accounts, something that is not really widely known. But you can create multi-send transactions. You can do in one transaction, saving a lot of gas you can, and saving time and effort, you can click once, sign it, and execute a bunch of things in one go. So if you have a custom Safe app integration, like CowSwap, for instance, CowSwap is our friends, so sort of friendly company to us, a member of the Gnosis universe, how we call it, and we do the bundling for them. Let's say what can be the bundling? You approve the token, you approve the usage of your token to this DEX, and then you do the swap, or you place an order in case this is an intent based, like gasless swap. But anyway, you do it in one bundle. You don't have to. Especially it's especially cool for multi-sigs, because like imagine if you have 3 physical people signing each transaction, you have to approve 3 times. Okay, moving next. Then you have to place an order 3 times. Everyone signs the thing.
It's like burning money all along the way.
Yeah. So burning money, burning time, like it's all super high hassle. So bundling is cool because you can do everything in one go. You have to sign. You still have to sign multiple times in case this is a multi-sig with multiple real like physical people. But still, you can do 2 transactions or more in one go, which is super powerful, and that is something that we can do with the smart account. Now, what else? Final thing to mention, of course, like each integration with the Safe app requires time. That's probably the biggest disadvantage of this. Unfortunately, it's not a plug and play thing. You have to invest your time, like we have to invest our time into reviewing the code base, like, and blah blah blah, like connecting, whitelisting, rolling it out, and also the app developers will have to do some effort to prepare the app for listing on Safe. So it's a lot of manual effort. So that's probably the main problem, the main thing that prevents us from expanding it like even more. If it was a plug and play thing that could be done in like 15 minutes, then it would be easier. Unfortunately, it's not technically possible because everything is custom. You have to customize a lot of stuff. So for these cases, because there are like not millions, but thousands of decent dApps out there, not all of them have the Safe app implementation. So that's why we have the Wallet Connect implementation. We recently tweaked it a lot, like changed it a lot. Now it's compatible with the latest Wallet Connect version. And you basically can connect your Safe to any dApp very easily. You just copy the link, paste it to Safe, press one button, you are connected, and you can do whatever. Okay, you have to switch between 2 tabs. In case of a Safe app, you have everything in one tab, one interface, bundled. In case this is a Wallet Connect, you have to switch between 2 tabs in the browser. So you have a DEX, for instance, if you're talking about DEXs. You have a DEX in the one tab, and you have the Safe wallet in the other tab. So we have to, switch between these 2, but that's quite a nice UX with pretty much no cost of integration. So it's a good sort of like trade-off to offer the wide choice of apps.
And you're also, I mean, when you touched upon bundling, I think a kind of abstraction those make for a better experience overall. People cannot like underestimate it or overestimate it. Like you get both sides you get both camps that just like want to go to the extremes when it comes to it, but I think it's just another tool for the developer toolkit, and in that case it's really good to have it. And you also touched upon intents, and I think that would be a good note to figure out to start wrapping up the interview.
Sure.
When it comes to intent-centric products, what are your personal thoughts, and where do you think we're headed, and where do you think Safe is headed when it comes to building things that are closer to user intents? And for people that might not be too familiar with the term, that basically means stuff like bundling, stuff like aggregators, which you've worked on, obviously, just like making sure that you give the product a rough goal, well, a goal, and it manages to execute it for you, as opposed to what you were describing before, which is like each person signing a transaction separately and spending time, and then another one, and then repeating. That basically is what Intense refers to just like streamlining the whole process so that the user goal gets
Yeah.
executed. So yeah, where do you think we're going, and where are you guys at Safe going with this?
Well, this is one of the innovations that went through in 2022. So basically, in other words, you're given a quite a accurate description, but in other words, like you ask some other guy to execute a transaction for you. So you give permission on your coins and saying, hey, you know what, like I don't want to spend any gas on that. I'm not sure about the right time of doing that because I'm not sure about the price, which is the best time, which is the best price, I don't know. Like, and so you abstract this thing. So you basically ask someone else to do the conversion for you. This especially nicely working for swaps. Because
For sure.
swap price always like fluctuates as hell. So and you want the best moment, especially if you're swapping huge amounts of funds and stuff like that. So honestly, like per my personal experience, I would still prefer classic limit orders, which is the same thing as what I just said, but you fix the price. So intent-based swap is something that you don't fix the price. You said, give me the best price. And then you rely on the mechanism to give you the best price. While in the limit orders, you say, hey, this is the price I want to execute the order at. Please do that. So I personally, like whenever I have to do any more or less significant amounts of transaction, like amount of conversion one currency to another, I usually do the limit order. I take the current market price. I add some optimistic amount, not very optimistic, but like a couple of percents. Set up this optimistic amount. Usually it gives a spike and it executes nicely in the same way as you described. So basically, someone else, a taker, arbitrager. Anyway, it's some guy who plays on these. Market changes. They do the thing for me and they pay the gas for me. So the beauty of it is that you don't have to have anything except for the coins, for the tokens. You don't have to have any native currency, which is cool. I think that's a step towards kind of more user-friendly thing. And as I said, we do have custom integrations with CowSwap and 1inch at Safe, so we fully support this nice effort, and yeah, why not? Another step towards making DeFi more user-friendly. So we benefit from that.
And I think when you mention like limit orders, that's precisely, I mean, at least here at Particle, that's kind of like what we want to see Intense as, like input and output constraints. So basically you tell the program or the person that you're like giving your coins to spend, you tell them, okay, I want at least this to happen and I want at least this to be the result, and if you get me anything better, I'd be happy, but like I want to specify your limit. And obviously with swaps that's familiar because it sounds something like what you would see happen within like a centralized exchange, but that's a powerful concept for all over. And we'll have to see what goes on with new products, new stuff coming to Web3. But I think this is like the right framework to think about, and there is now a proper infrastructure to try to execute it, which it speaks about like how far back we started as an industry, that we just got to this point.
It's not too bad. I'm optimistic about all that. So the technology is so advanced that it just cannot. It's too advanced and too big now to be just ditched. So I guess we should overcome the regulation challenges. Maybe become less CryptoPunk-ish industry, but I think we're gonna have a huge success.
Start wearing suits.
Maybe, yeah. On top of us, but we're gonna stay in pants down there. But here we probably get some ties and everything, so to look more legitimate.
We'll have to. Next time you'll see like this podcast will all be wearing suits and ties. Andrei, thank you very much for your time, man. It's been a pleasure.
Same from my side.
And yeah, for the audience, thank you very much for listening to this. If you liked it, well, you know the drill. Subscribe, share it with a friend, etc. And we'll try to get Andre again sometime to talk about the progresses of Safe. Thank you
Sure
very much,
thing.
sir.
Bye bye. Have a nice one.